All right. Good morning. I don't think I saw Mason or Cody. So if I missed them, please just let me know. I didn't see them. The first thing I just want to make sure you guys are aware, I updated from Delta Math to Gradebook this morning. I think I have all of them except a couple. I'm hoping to finish as soon as I'm done with fourth period, I'll finish it up. So I would suggest you make sure you get on your progress book and double check everything and make sure everything looks right. I went through it twice. I know I did not finish up number 55 and 62B. And then there was a quiz in there I need to look over again. So those are the three assignments I have not done. But once I get those up to date, I will keep grades up to date as soon as possible. I don't like having grades behind. So if you notice, you've been seeing all your grades pushed to you faster. So hopefully they're right. If not, just let me know and I will correct that. All right, and then the next thing, I don't know if you guys noticed that you had last night homework that was basically the same homework as a couple days ago. I made an oops. So you did 0, 7, 3 twice, which is not a bad thing. But I went ahead and just put it in once, and you guys all got full credit for that. But tonight you will have 0, 7, 6 to do. So make sure you do the right assignment. And if it's not on there, please tell me, because I'm still looking, I'm learning everything. This is all new to me with all the online learning. But we are going to go over a couple problems in class today. And then you guys are free to do Delta Math the rest of the class period. So any questions before we get started? If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. All right. I am going to go ahead and share my screen and get you on Google Classroom so you can look at the assignment with me. All right, there's your link for Delta Math. But I'm going to go back one section to 075, the assignment yesterday. I am going to pull up a couple things to this kind of point out to you guys. The first one is this another way to have in front of you guys when you're working on your homework. If you want to print this and put radians right next to it, you can do that. A lot of you guys already have a unit circle. So those are great to have in front of you while you're doing your homework. All right. And then I am going to go ahead. I didn't mean to exit out of that. All right, so I'm going to pull up our notes from yesterday. And if we don't get all the way through it, there is a key to the notes. So if you want to do more problems like on your own, you can always print the notes and then you have the answer key to double check to make sure you got everything right. It's a great idea for those of you who are just having a little more trouble with it. Okay, it's coming to my Smart Notes now. We're going to start on page 2. So if you want to flip to the second page, that's where we'll be. All right, page 2. Okay, so if you guys look at this, it says depending on the location of the terminal side of the angle, trigonometric functions can be positive or negative. Using your knowledge of trigonometric function values, identify the functions that are positive in each quadrant. So we should have this before in our notes. Okay, but if you remember the quadrant 1, I'm gonna mark on this one too. Quadrant 1 is all are positive. So you're right in that top right corner, all. Okay. And you can even, if you want to mark it, this is Q1. Okay, this is Q2. This is Q3. Q4. Okay, this one is always sine. You guys can always, you could put cosecant with it if you want to. The other one right here is going to be your tangent. And this one is your cosine. Okay. Now, when I was younger and in high school, we learned it as all students take calculus. If that's a way to help you remember it, that's just a way to remember it. So I'm going to go ahead and put over here sine. And if you want to go ahead and put with, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put that in quadrant 1. Sorry. All right, so quadrant 1 is all. Quadrant 2 is sine and cosecant. And quadrant 3 is tangent and cotangent. And quadrant 4 is cosine and secant. All right, now if you look at this number 3 here, it says if cosine is greater than 0. So I want you to think, just put in the chat box, think of a number that is greater than 0. Any number greater than 0. All right, now if you look at your the chat box, think about this. You guys cannot see what I'm seeing, but all the numbers I saw come through were all positive, right? So none of them are negative. So I need you guys to think about this. Which of those quadrants would cosine of theta be positive in? So go ahead and tell me which quadrants of cosine would be positive. And there is more than one answer. I see so far. Let's see if you guys got it right. 1 and 4, you're right. So 1 is all the ones are positive, and then if you look at quadrant 4, cosine is positive. So let's go ahead and fill that in. On to number 3, we're gonna have quadrant 1 and 4. Okay. All right, and then if you guys go ahead and you can do number 4, it says tangent of theta is less than, look at that sign, less than 0. So I want you first in the chat box, think of numbers less than 0, write it in quickly. Any number less than 0. So as I'm seeing them come in, they are all negative. So if you guys think about this, these are negative numbers. So which quadrant can it be in? So go ahead and answer if you think you know where this one answer is going to be at. All right, I have some say 2 and 4. I see some say 2 and 3. So let's just look at this quickly together, make sure we have it. Oops. All right, so if we look at this one, tangent is less than 0. It has to be negative. So in quadrant 3, tangent is going to be positive, so it cannot be 3. Okay, is tangent negative in quadrant 2? Yes, because sine is the only one positive. Is tangent negative in quadrant 1? No, because these are all positive. Is tangent negative in quadrant 4? Yes, because cosine is the only one positive. Okay. Now, if it's hard to, you can always do, like, if you guys had an extra piece of paper, you can always cross off as you go. Like, hey, I'm only looking at my positives, so I cross off all my negatives. You know, you can kind of process elimination with those. All right, go ahead. Number 5, let's think right away. Secant is what? Is it sine, tangent, or cosine? Go ahead and put in your chat box. Which one is it? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Great, everybody remembers that. Okay, so we're looking at cosine. It says it's less than 0. So go ahead and think, can you guys go ahead and pick out which quadrant is it gonna end up in? Which one could it be in? All right, I see 2 and 3 coming through. Let's look at that. It's less than 0. Okay, so if we look at 2, is cosine negative in that box? Yes. So secant is negative. So 2 does work. Another one you guys said was 3, and tangent's the only one positive there. So yes, that will work. All right, go ahead and do number 6, and then this one's interesting. I'm gonna read it out loud. It says sine is less than 0. So you need to think about sine is negative, and cotangent is greater than 0, meaning cotangent is positive. Okay, and I want you to go ahead and take a guess. See if you guys can guess right, or maybe you can use your heads and think. All right, let's think let's just show it up here if we did not get it right. It says sine is less than 0. So sine is negative. Well, let's see here. Sine is positive here, so it cannot go here. Okay. Sine is positive here, cannot go here. And it says, oops, sorry. Tangent is positive. So tangent is positive, it cannot go here. The only one left is quadrant 3. All right, great job, you guys. All right, we're gonna do number 7 now. Number 7, there is a couple different ways of doing it. I'll show you the way I did it, but I'm not saying you have to do it the way I do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw me a triangle. Okay, and I have 8 and 17. Okay. Think about when we've been doing triangles the last several days, we have to find R typically. So I would just go right off the bat, find your R. And remember, R is your hypotenuse, your radius. So go ahead and find it. Okay, once you find R, go ahead and tell me the answer in your chat box, and I'll make sure you guys are paying attention. How about this? I drew the triangle wrong. Let's start over. Let's think this through again. So sorry, you guys. I wasn't thinking. Should have probably took that second cup of coffee this morning. All right, let me draw that again for you. Good thing I needed my keys ahead of time so I can look at it. All right, so, okay, think about this. Sine, this is always good to see the mistakes that even I make because some of you guys might be making the same mistakes. So sine is always talking about your y. So if you think about this, sine is right here. Okay, your opposite is 8. Your hypotenuse is 17. Let's go ahead and try to find our x correctly. Go ahead and do that, please. And find it, and then tell me what you guys get. Yep, great job, you guys. Okay, now I know my x is 15, okay? Now, we're gonna go ahead and get the fractions over here, and when we're done, we're gonna talk about the signs. All right, so let's see here. Cosine is talking about the x or the hypotenuse. So what is our cosine? If you know what your cosine is, go ahead and let me know what it is. All right, so you guys have 15 over 7. That's great. Some of you guys are already thinking ahead, thinking about your sign. We're going to come back to it right at the end here, okay? So I want you guys to think about this. If we know cosine is 15 over 7, think about which one it would be our, which one is the flip? It's your reciprocal. Or inverse, sorry, I said the wrong word, inverse. I was thinking of perpendicular lines there. So which one's our flip? Which one goes with cosine? Is it our cosecant or our secant? You guys are right. It is our secant. Some of you guys hadn't responded yet. So go ahead and flip it. So it'd be 17 over 15. Okay. So go ahead and find tangent for me, please. And some of you guys already have it. It's 8 over 15. You guys probably remember tangent and cotangent. They are they relate to each other. So we're going to go ahead and make that one 15 over 8. And then you could go ahead and look at, well, I know that this one is related to the one up here. So then this would be 17 over 8. Now, we did not get our signs yet. So let's go and look at the signs up here. I'm going to clear this out quick on the one I had drawn up here. Pull down a little bit. All right, so if we look at this one, it says tangent is less than 0. So let's think about that. If tangent is less than 0, that means it's a negative. So which quadrant does it have, which quadrants could we say it could possibly be in, and or maybe which ones is it not in? So let's just put in the chat box which ones you know for sure is not. Just think about the tangent first. Which one can it not be in? And you can put that in the chat box. All right, you guys are saying 1 and 3. I'm just going to start with that less than 0. It has to be, it needs to be a negative. Okay, it says tangent is less than 0. That means it cannot be positive. Okay, so it cannot go here. It cannot go here. Now, I want you to go over here and think. This one was positive. Sine of theta is positive. So the only one left that is sign that's positive is quadrant 2. This one did not work. So this is in quadrant 2. Okay, now some of you might prefer when you draw your triangle to go ahead and think, well, it's in quadrant 2. It's going to look like this. And this is 8, and this is negative 15, and this is 17. Okay, that is another way of doing it. Okay. Now, when I look at this, I can start seeing my negatives here, okay? Well, if sine is positive here, then that means cosecant is positive here. And I'm just gonna put plus sign, so remember we already talked about it. This one's positive, okay? But in this quadrant, what other ones, sine or tangent, or both, are negative? Go ahead and put in your chat box, which ones do you think will be, which ones should be negative now? Should be tangent or cosine, or is it both? That's the question. Majority of you guys are getting it right. It is both, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and go through here. I'm gonna make this one negative. If this one's negative, that means this has to be negative. And if this one's negative, that means this one's negative. So if you look right here, think about this. The 15 was negative because it was going in the negative direction. And that's why the negative is 15, okay? And you think about it, you flip it, the 15 was a negative, now you just put it right here, okay? Same thing here, the 15 was negative, that's why the negative's out here, okay? Just a couple ways of seeing it and looking at it. You could do two ways. You could go ahead and look and say, I know it's in a certain quadrant, and then answer it, that's fine. Or you could draw your triangles and then look at your quadrants, it's up to you. I'm not gonna do 8, but I will tell you which quadrant it is, and just to help you think about it, it says cotangent is negative. Well, if it's negative, it can't be in here, okay? It's negative, it can't be here. And then it says secant is greater than 0. Well, secant is related to cosine. Cosine is positive only in this quadrant. So the only quadrant I have left is quadrant 4. Okay? So then you can go ahead and do your problem there. You can draw the picture. It's going to look like this. Okay? Here's my angle. Side opposite is 4. It's a negative 4. And the adjacent is 1. And then I have to find R. Okay? There's how to do it. We're going to skip to page 3 and just quickly talk about reference angles. This is actually pretty easy if you guys look at it. I'm going to draw 150 degrees. Sorry, that's not even close, but it'll work for what we're trying to talk about. This is 150 degrees. So the question is right here. We're just looking at this angle. I'm going to call it X. If this is 150, how much is X? If you know what it is, just put it in the chat box. Yep, you guys got it. It's 30. All right, let's be a little more tricky. Let's think about this is 315 degrees. It's going to end up somewhere over here. And when we draw the reference angles, it always attaches to the x-axis, okay? It goes up to the x-axis. So what is our angle right here then? .45 is correct. Okay, I'm just looking at number 6 quick because it's in radians. Even though it might be a little tricky. Think about pi over 4. It's negative. Ooh, this sounds tricky. Think about this. Right here to here is pi. Okay. A little further. Oh, I already made it. Oops, here. Hold on a second. Negative. Make sure you go down. Negative down. Go down is pi. If you think about that, that's 4 pi over 4 is a pi, right? So I already went 4 pi over 4. I need to go a little further, and there is your 5 pi over 4, and that's a negative, okay? So you have to think from here to the x-axis, how far is that angle in radians? If you know what it is, go ahead and put it in the chat box. Yep, you guys got it. Pi over 4 is correct, okay? All right. Let me see if there's anything else you guys feel like you need to go over. Just a reminder, if you guys remember, if you're at 0, it's 0 pi. If you go up to the right angle, that's 90 degrees, which you guys are pretty good with that. It's also the same thing as pi over 2. I don't think you'll have any problem with that. Something cool, I think it's on this one. Hold on a second. If you print on the key, this is already filled out, this unit circle, and that would be very helpful to have in front of you while you're doing your homework to save you some time. Okay, so if you can print, great. If not, maybe like have it on your computer and have it on the the side, like two tabs open, and you can look at both side by side. So, and just a quick reminder, Pi over 6 does relate to every third, or sorry, every sixth. Okay, these relate to each other. And then the fourth, the half, 3/4, pi, those relate too. You might see some connections. All right, who has questions before I turn you off to Delta Math? All right, I need to check to make sure everybody responded and was paying attention. And then why don't you guys go ahead and start on your Delta Math. If I need you, if I did not see your response, I'll just ask you, okay? And make sure you guys are checking your progress book. And if there's any errors that you're like, hey, this doesn't look right, please email me or send me a private message. You can chat with me right now just to make sure it's right.
Can we leave when we're done?
Do you have it all the way done? The Delta Math?
Yeah.
All right, let me check. All right, Reed, you're free to go. Thank you for letting me know. And make sure you check your progress book. If you have any questions, let me know, okay?